Early morning heading to Mevaseret. That is a small town outside of Jerusalem to meet a very interesting person. More on that later. And then to Tel Aviv for a back-to-back day. But first, driving the boys to camp. Say what's up, guys.
What's up?
What's up? Here we go. Made it to Mevaseret. I haven't been here in 15 years. I used to work in the school here, and I also, last time I was here, was at Amnon Shashua's house, the Israeli version of Elon Musk. He founded Mobileye, and he drove me, or I shouldn't even say he drove me. We have to come up with a word. I rode from Mevaseret to Jerusalem in a fully autonomous car. Crazy cool, right out of the future. Anyway, meeting a woman named Liron today, who runs an organization that's responsible for the development of Jerusalem. And we're talking about collabing, just seeing how I can help spread the goodness about Jerusalem, which is, as I always say, crazy, because if I told my grandmother in Auschwitz that I'd be working with the city of Jerusalem in the Jewish state, she would not know what to do with that information. Anyway, it's gonna be an exciting meeting, but first, I need caffeine, because I didn't have coffee this morning. Long story, first things first, cappuccino, strong, extra caffeine, and then Liron and I are meeting in 20 minutes. And as always, the best way not to come late, come early. Parking. I mean, I only had to circle like 10 times, but parking in Tel Aviv, it's a good day. It's a good day when I get parking in Tel Aviv. So now I'm heading to Sarona, like every day, and I have about 4 or 5 consecutive meetings, one after the other over there, and then heading back home for like another 5 Zooms, and then back to Tel Aviv tonight. Good times. I might hit the beach tonight, actually, in Tel Aviv. God, it's hot. Anyway, the beautiful Sarona. Here I come. Okay, this guy I'm sitting with, right, this dashingly handsome individual standing next to me, is building something incredibly important. But first, before we get into what you're building, who are you? What's your name?
Nathan Margulis.
Nathan Margolis, and one of my favorite people in the world introduced us. Omri Shor. Omri Shor, I know from the Microsoft Accelerator probably a decade ago, I don't even know. And he's building a company called MetaSafe, which is addressing, and this is a really important lesson for everyone watching. It's addressing something super specific, and that is people forget to take their medicine. That's it. And why is that an important lesson? Because if I hear one more entrepreneur say to me, we're building a one-stop shop. No one wants a one-stop shop. No one wants to invest in an Swiss Army knife. I want a company that does one thing and does it well. And Omri's company is the perfect example of that. That's what they focus on, helping you not forget to take your meds. Company raised 50 mil, crazy company. Anyway, Omri's amazing, super humble dude. He introduced me to this good-looking guy. Not much context, we spoke on the phone, right?
Yeah,
we spoke on the phone, now we're meeting, and I want him to tell you what he's building. What's the name of your company?
It's Helping Minds.
Helping Minds. Give me a little background I don't need to get personal, but whatever you want to tell me of how this company came to be. Tell me the backstory.
So I myself come from a technological background. I studied mathematics, computer science, did some software gigs. Very early in my career I started experimenting with entrepreneurship and online projects. And I started Helping Minds based on my personal lived experience with mental health. My mental health story connected with my entrepreneurship background, and I started looking at the market and I recognized the pattern. And the pattern was that a lot of people go through the same journey as I went through. It takes them a lot of time to reach out to get professional help, and once they do, they, more often than not actually, they get misdiagnosed and mistreated. And
it's unbelievable.
At best, they don't get better. At worst, they deteriorate.
I mean, we're going to get deeper into it, but it is unbelievable that in 2023, nobody has disrupted mental health. Like, you go to, let's say you have depression, you go to a psychiatrist, they're going to give you meds, they're going to be like, take these meds, come back in 8 weeks to see if it works. Like, what am I, a guinea pig? Like, why is there no personalized medicine in mental health? Why is nobody disrupted this industry? I don't get it at all. There are a lot of companies like our friend Alon Matas, BetterHelp, there's Circles in Israel, Wisdo. What other mental health companies in Israel?
We have Hillel Health.
Hillel Health, right, of course.
Operation automation for mental health.
Yep.
We got a bunch of others, but Actually, what fuels the problem that I just described is the way that the mental health profession is structured.
Right.
What happens is that mental health professionals, the only bar to entry and to start treating clients is actually the licensing exam.
Right.
And once they pass the exam, they are legally able to treat any person with any mental health condition. But actually, the case is that they most often than not don't have the expertise to treat stuff like OCD, stuff like eating disorders, etc.
So right now you're focused on OCD, right?
Yeah.
So, pardon my ignorance, I know very little about OCD. I mean, I know what it is, but if I may ask, you don't have to tell me.
Yeah.
You have it?
Some variation of it. Yes.
How does it manifest? Like in your day-to-day, again, if it's too personal, we don't have to, want to just leave it?
I won't talk about my specific case, okay, but I can talk about OCD in general, right? OCD is based on two main things. One is that people get obsessions, and they get obsessed about their thoughts about stuff happening in the world, and these problems cause compulsions. And those compulsions are repetitive behaviorals that have patterns that actually take control over the person's lives. And the problem here is not the obsessions, actually. The problem is the compulsions.
Right.
And so it has many different variations. People obsess about very wide range of things, and the compulsions also take place in many different forms.
It's really interesting though, because I feel like when you talk to most people about OCD, they have one association: cleanliness. Right?
Sorry?
Clean, being clean.
Yeah.
Like, that's how most people think. And then there's like the Jack Nicholson movie where you can't step on the street. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, okay, so what does the company do? And tell me a little bit about the company. How many people? How much money have you raised? How big is the company? How successful? Give me a little more information here.
So Helping Minds is basically two things. One, it's a specialized therapist network. These are therapists who are specialized in treating OCD and related disorders.
Right.
And on the other hand, it's a technological platform which enables those therapists to treat more patients more efficiently.
Right.
And so we so far didn't raise any funds. We're a bootstrapping company.
Okay, so you're bootstrapped.
Yeah.
How many people work at the company?
So there are more than 10 people, but not everybody is full-time. So if you count everyone, like divide by full-time, you get 8 full-time people.
8 full-time people. No external capital raised. Okay, so you were in the middle of saying I cut you off. So it's a network of therapists. That's one. What else?
The other part is the augmented intelligence platform. That's how I call it. It's a technology platform which basically allows the therapists to build a digital journey, digital treatment journey for the patients,
right,
based on a predefined catalog of digital interventions that we have on the platform. And this creates a situation where most of the treatment process for the patient is digital, right? So it saves a lot of therapist time, and it allows therapists to focus on much more patients at once.
So what you're doing is you're kind of like crowdsourcing wisdom here at the end of the day. Like you're enabling therapists to share their insights with other therapists, right?
Not exactly with other. We have a feedback loop back to the therapist, so that we as a company can learn from their experience and spread that experience to the other therapists. But essentially what we do is that we take therapists without expertise in OCD or other disorders, and using the platform we upskill them and enable them to treat patients with OCD.
Got it. I love it. Okay, so no capital raised, 10 people working at the company. What's next?
So we're raising a seed round.
Okay.
To expedite our growth.
Love it. So you're raising $2 million?
Yeah.
All right, so you want to get into the details of the raise, or let's leave that out right now?
Yeah,
bottom line, if you're watching this right now and you're interested in investing in a profitable, bootstrap, mental health startup that's changing the world, hit me up. Or how's the best way, if somebody wants to reach you, they don't have to hit me up, they should hit you up. What's the best way to contact you?
Add me on LinkedIn, Nathan Margulis.
So Nathan Margolis.
Margulis.
Gulis. Yeah. Joseph's going to put the details right here. Hit him up on LinkedIn. And yeah, good luck, dude. Keep changing the world. It's amazing. Super important stuff. If I can help with anything, you know where to find me.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, dude. Funny story. Real quick. We're going to tell the story again. You're going to have to forgive me. Long story short, a long time ago, I was on my Instagram and I saw a name pop up, Hadassah Goldberg. I have a first cousin named Hadassah Goldberg. She was Hadassah Fuld, married Moshe Goldberg. I saw Hadassah Goldberg. I'm like, oh, my cousin's on Instagram. Cool. I didn't know. I follow her. All of a sudden her stories stopped showing up and it ain't my cousin. I'm like, that's not my cousin. I was like on the unfollow button, and then I watching this Hadassah Goldberg stories, and I'm like, this is really interesting. I started following her. We became friends. We did an Instagram live together. Long story short, 6 months ago? 6 months ago, I was looking for
somebody to manage the back end of the company.
Exactly. Well put. Somebody to manage the back end of the company. I put out a post. I got a zillion CVs. One of the messages I got was from Hadassah Goldberg. He said, hold on a second, why don't you hire my sister Michal? I'm like, oh, I didn't even notice then, but I had just met Michal a few weeks before that at a fundraiser. She managed the whole fundraiser. She was great. And I'm like, sounds great. And then Hadassah's like, yeah, she's amazing, blah, blah, blah. We met. Game over. I do not know what I did before Michal joined my company, because I'm sending you 30, 40 emails a day to schedule things every single day. How did I have time to schedule 40 meetings before? I don't know. But bottom line, out of all the things, we're going to talk about you in a second, but out of all of the things that Michal does for me, by far, actually I'm not sure this is the true statement, but one of the most amazing things she does for me is that I wake up every morning with a brief. Here's your day, here's who you're meeting, here's who introduced you, here's the context. It sounds so trivial, but I used to spend an hour every morning trying to figure out who these people are that I'm meeting, because someone sent me a LinkedIn message 6 months ago. I don't remember why I'm meeting them. So now I wake up to a brief. It's amazing, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. She does so much more. But enough about me. Who are you? What is your name? What's your story? What's your background? Give me your spiel. And don't forget to plug your husband.
I'm Michal, I'm 24, just turned 24.
Makes me feel so old, yes.
I was born in London, but I moved to Israel. I made Aliyah with my family as a little kid, so I grew up in Israel, in Jerusalem. I don't know, what do you want to know? What have I done?
I don't know. Okay, let's just jump to the end. Who's your husband?
Okay, my husband's Michael Saman. He's a mentalist who you may have heard of. He performs all over the world.
But you say mentalist like people know what that is. Just to be clear, and by the way, I feel really bad for him, because I'll show you why. What is a spiral staircase?
Like this. Why?
You will never ask someone what a spiral staircase is and they won't go like this.
Okay.
It's just a thing. You can't explain it without it. So how do you explain what a mentalist is without saying lior sushar? So I feel bad for him, because it's like whenever people say to him, like, what's a mentalist? The only way to explain it is lior sushar.
A mentalist is somebody who, not to be confused with magician, by the way, but he's a mind reader. So he performs and he sort of entertains and whatever through studying body language and psychology and sort of like the people science.
Crazy stuff he's done. Like I saw him at an event, and then I asked him to do like a thing just like one-on-one. It's one of whatever. I tried to get it out of me how this happens, but there's no tricks. Like he says, write down your first crush, and I write it down. And he guesses who it is. Like how is that even possible? It doesn't. It's a crazy thing. Anyway, michaelsaman.com, SAMEN, michaelsaman.com. Hit him up if you have an event and you want a mentalist. But you, tell me if I described you well. You are detail-oriented. You are the one who gets stuff done. I'm the one that opens the door. You're the one that closes the deal. So, for example, I can't mention names right now, but I'm being in the hopefully late end stages of being recruited by something a little bit confidential. Can't talk about it, but because of the sensitivity, the amount of paperwork that had to be filled out for this role was absolutely insane, and there was no way. I would literally have given up on this role if I had to fill out those forms. I gave them to Michal. You've been working on them for 4 weeks, 5 weeks? 100, I would never. So that, just the ability to, I call Michal my chief peace of mind officer. Chief peace of mind officer. She gives me peace of mind. Okay, so what do you, putting aside...
It's funny though, because I have analytical skills and I like finishing things, but I think I'm much more like a people's person than, I don't...
Or both.
I don't know.
I think both. And usually that's a rare combination. You do have both, but...
Very rare.
Okay, so I met you at this fundraiser.
So I graduated high school.
Right.
I went straight to working at a logistics organization called Conspire, where we ran trips for sort of like VIP taglit for moms and for all of the groups. I worked there for a while. Then I was part of the founding team of an organization called Beit Daniela.
I did not know that, by the way.
For a friend of mine who passed away from anorexia and is now a health.
How did I not know about this? Holy cow, that's horrible.
So it's an amazing organization, Beit Daniela. So I worked there. I went to SEM for a bit. Didn't stay for very long. And then I joined Chayenu, which is High Lifeline Israel. I did my Shirut Leumi over there, which was amazing and life-changing. I stayed involved. I left, I started university, studying healthcare management, graduated that, managed the Chayenu campaign, which is, we raised 1 million shekels in 6 weeks, which I'm very proud of.
That's awesome.
But that's where I met you.
Right.
And now I love you. That's my story.
Okay, so be honest, okay?
Yes.
No brushing over. Brutally honest. We've been working together for 6 months. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts? Just go, hit me.
I like working with you. I think the world's super interesting, and that we meet lots of very, very cool innovations and people who are doing very inspiring things.
Who was the first person we met in person when we just started working together?
By the way, best meeting so far, Dan Ariely.
Because we just started working together, and Michal works remotely. She doesn't come in every day into my meetings. Sometimes she does, but it happened to be that day she came in, and our first meeting was with Dan Ariely. And if you don't know who Dan Ariely is,
I think part of the reason was because it was.
So if you don't know who Dan Ariely is, Google him. But he's a behavioral scientist.
Amazing.
Right?
He's everything.
Okay, but he has a very fascinating story. He's a TED Talk. He was in a fire when he was a kid, and half of his body is burnt. He has a beard on half his face. You're a fascinating dude. So that was like our first in-person meeting. But like overall, give me your thoughts on the business, because you have some really good ideas. Like officially, like I hired you as like an executive assistant officially, but the reality is,
Small business.
right, I'm saying you've transformed everything. Like you've come up with ideas for the business that like I didn't even think about. So now I'm asking you for constructive criticism / feedback on camera.
No.
You're not gonna give it to me?
No.
Okay, so what else? We meet interesting people. What else?
I think it's very inspiring to be around people who are actually doing. I think there is so much noise and fear around the startup world mitzad echad on the one hand, but on the other hand,
So funny. You switch to Hebrew and English. So we all do that. Anybody who moved to Israel from the States at an early age, like me, I was here when I was 15, we do Hebrewish. Yeah.
it's awful, so unprofessional. No, but I think on the one hand, there's sort of this like Israel, the startup world, blah, blah, blah. On the one hand, and on the other hand, I think people are also a little bit scared because the failing rates are pretty
Right,
high, and
right.
it's very cool to be around people who are actually there and going, and,
Right.
and there's like a lot of friendship as opposed to competitiveness, which is really nice to see.
Right.
And people are doing really impactful, cool things, so it's really cool.
How annoying is it on a scale from 1 to 10 that you have to hear the same stuff over and over? Like, because I'm sitting with startups every day, right? I'm giving them advice on marketing, talking to them the importance of content, and like at the end of the day, it's a lot of the same stuff. And like, you know, when you're around someone a lot, you hear the same stuff. Is it annoying? Honestly, is it very annoying?
I mean, I think I've
used to
figured
it?
out, first of all, tuning things in and out, but
Right.
also, like I often work parallel to the mini.
Right. Okay, so bottom line, we're having a good time. You better not ditch me because I don't know. How did I find the time I don't know how I found the time before that, but whatever. Yeah, it's. I think long term, we've discussed this, but hopefully we'll, long term, given that you're coming up with business ideas, we'll be able to be more of partners than whatever we are, colleagues. I don't know. I can't deal with the assistant boss thing because I'm not your boss. If anything, I work for you. You don't work for me.
That's just because I'm bossy, not
I'm just saying, like I answer to you. Like something needs to get done. Like anyway.
I don't think it's offensive. I think it's fun.
I don't know. I'm not comfortable with it. But anyway, bottom line, we're having a good time. That's the most important thing. And yeah, it's just don't forget the little people, okay?
Don't forget Compulsive.
Thanks, Michal. Seriously, jokes aside, no sarcasm. Thank you for everything. I hope I treat you well. I hope you don't have any complaints. But if you do, you can tell me. Don't get all sarcastic on me. This is a moment. Just made it home. Like I said, I have a couple of more Zooms for the rest of the day, and then heading to Tel Aviv tonight for a meeting. So I'm gonna call it a day. See you tomorrow.